Okay, so this is chapter 8.3 and 8.4, the cosine law. By the end of this class, you should be able to use the cosine law to find sides and angles of a triangle. Now, I talked about this yesterday, but here we go again. If I have a triangle, ABC, okay, and if angle B is the largest angle, then right across angle B, you're going to have the largest side. And remember, you label these as little a and little c and little b here. So let me just write, if angle B is the biggest angle, then side B is the longest side. So similarly, if angle A is the smallest, then side A will be the smallest. Alright, so something that we should know. Now, let me write the cosine law with these letters, A, B, C. It looks complicated, but really it's not. Let me write c squared is equal to, now the Pythagorean theorem says c squared equals to what? A squared plus b squared. But that only applies to right triangles. So what we need to do, so we do have to subtract here. So minus 2 times these two letters right here, A, B, and cos of the angle across this side over here, so angle C. Why don't you try a squared and see what a squared should equal to? B squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of angle A. Yeah. Okay? Is that alright? Yeah. Did you understand that? Yeah. What's b squared equal to then? A squared plus c squared. Alright, so what'd you write here? A squared. A squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos of angle B. Alright, so let's find sides of a triangle using the cosine law. And when you find a side using cosine law, let's take a look what we need. Okay. How many pieces of information do we have here? Okay, if you look at this one right here, how many pieces of information do you have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's actually 4 pieces of information in that one formula. So if you're looking for a side, okay, how many pieces of information would you need? 3. At least 3. And what 3 are those? Side. You need what? Side. This side, and this side, and this angle. So let's take a look what it looks like. You need the side, okay, and another side, and you need the angle that's opposite to the one that I'm what? Looking for. So if this is the one I'm looking for, I need which one? I need this angle. So what do you need to use the cosine law? You need side, angle, side. You understand? Yes. Alright. So you need side, angle, side. So you need 2 sides and an angle. No, you got to be specific, right? 2 sides and the contained angle. Alright, so you need 2 sides and the contained angle. Basically, between the two sides is contained there, the angle. Okay? Alright. So let me give you an example, and let's try to see if we can do this. I do not need you to write the actual formula. You can just write the numbers directly, okay? I think it's easier if you just write the letters, the numbers directly, instead of actually writing the formula out. So don't worry about labeling this as what? A, B, and C. You don't need to worry about that. Just use those numbers. Do you remember what I said, right? What the formula is. Because I am looking for x, I will start with what letter? There's only one letter, x. What number am I going to start with? I'm going to start with x. So it's going to be x squared is equal to something. So write it out. What does x squared equal to? So let's write down what x squared should equal to. And x squared should equal to what? 8 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 8 times 10 cos of 30. Now notice that right here I only have what? Numbers. So if you only have numbers, means you can type that whole thing into your what? Into your calculator. So type that whole thing into your calculator and get an answer. Don't square root it yet. Okay, so x squared is equal to what? 25.44. So approximately 25.44. What do we do with that now? Square root that. So square root both sides. Okay. So x is equal to. Alright, so what did you get? You start with what? X squared is equal to what?
7 squared.
That's 7 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 7 times 10 cos of 80. Now watch. Some people, like we're showing a lot of steps. This is what some people do a mistake on here. Okay, 49 plus what? 100, so that's 149 minus 2 times 7 is what? 14 times 10 is what? 140 cos 80. Now a lot of students are tempted to do what, do you think? Subtract these two. You can't subtract those two. Okay, why not? Because there's a multiplication right here. You have to follow BEDMAS. Do you understand that? Okay? You cannot subtract those two numbers because this 140 has to be multiplied by cos 80 first. BEDMAS. Anyway, what was the answer here?
124.
124.69. Okay? And now you square root both sides. Okay? So x is equal to 11.17. Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
Alright, so you're looking for an angle. How many angles are there in the cosine formula? 1. How many pieces of information did we say we had in the whole thing? 4. So guess what you need to find the angle? All 3 sides. Okay, so you need all 3 sides to be able to find an angle using the cosine law. Alright, here we go. So here, in order to find the angles, what do you need? All 3 sides. So you need all 3 sides to find an angle. And this is a little bit more work, but it shouldn't be too hard, I hope. Let's say 7, 9, and 12. Let's say we're looking for angle X up on top here. Now think about it. If I'm looking for angle X, what number do I have to start with in the cosine law formula?
12.
Yeah, 12. Why? Yeah, because it's opposite to the angle that I'm looking for. Yes? The angle that's included in the cosine law is the opposite to the side we start with. Is that okay? So, in the cosine law, the angle that's included in cosine law is the opposite to the side we start with. So if we want to include this in the cosine law, we need to start with this side. So you have to start with 12 squared. Write it out. Alright, so what we need to do now is start with 12 squared because that's opposite to the angle we're looking for. So 12 squared equals to what? 7 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 7 times 9 cos of angle X. Now, problem is, can I type this whole thing into my calculator now? No, the problem is I can't type that whole thing because now I have a variable. So guess what you have to do with the variable? You have to isolate it, right? So you have to isolate the variable. Now remember, this whole chunk right here is actually what? One kind of term, right? So this whole chunk is like one term. So you cannot split this up just by adding these numbers again. Okay? So I like to, I guess students found this easier, so I'll do it this way. Just move this whole thing over to that side.
With the 12?
Yeah. And then move the 12 where? Over to this side. Right? So you're just going to move those, rearrange it so that we're trying to isolate what? Trying to isolate X. So what do we get? We got 2 times 7 times 9 cos of X is equal to.
Why isn't it?
It's not negative anymore because
Why is the 7 and 9 not negative?
Alright, what do we have on this side then? 7 squared plus 9 squared minus 12 squared. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to type those numbers you can. So you evaluate whatever you can. We can evaluate that one, yes? Alright, so give me a number for that. 126 cos what? X is equal to, and I can evaluate that because those are numbers as well.
Negative 14.
Negative 14. Now, now how do I isolate X?
Divide by 126.
Yeah, you have to get rid of that 126. So how do we do that? We divide both sides by 126. So you're going to end up dividing by 126. Now, so once we divide by 126, we get cos X is equal to negative 14, 126. And then, how do we get rid of that cos? Yeah, so cos minus 1, so inverse cos. So X is equal to cos minus 1 of negative 14 over 126.
Or negative 1. Wait.
Huh?
What's the cos?
You have to move, since it's like X
So this is x equals 96.38 degrees. Oh, look. This is what kind of angle? Obtuse. So remember yesterday when we were using the sine law, we could never get what? Obtuse angles. However, in here, we actually end up getting what? An obtuse angle. Okay, so, huh? Not every time. When would you get an obtuse angle? Look over here. When it is? Negative. If this is negative, then you're going to end up getting a obtuse angle. You got it? If that's positive, you're going to get the acute angle. So, yesterday I said not to use the what? The sine law when looking for the biggest angle, because it always gives you the what? The acute angle. However, so that's why you should always try to what? Get the biggest angle using the cosine law, because cosine law will tell you exactly if it's acute or obtuse. Is that okay? Alright, so alright, so let's try this one. Alright, so this is 7 squared we start with, because we're looking for angle x, which is opposite to 7. So 7 squared is equal to 10 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times these two numbers right here, cos of x. Push this to the other side. This one over here. So 2 times 10. Work out evaluate the numbers here. Divide both sides by 300. And so x is equal to cos minus 1 of 276 over 300. And x should give you 23.07. Is that right? Yeah. So with the cosine law, there'll be some compass direction questions. And so what I'm going to do is show you what a compass direction looks like. It may look like this. Okay. And Pathfinders, I guess, how do you read this? 30 degrees.
I did.
What? Pathfinders? You guys didn't do?
No.
I just did. I did that.
30 degrees, right? East of north. Okay, so 30 degrees east of the north side. Okay, so the way you do this. Whenever you see a compass direction, I always want you to draw like the cross section. I do want you to draw the lines for your north, your south, your east and west. Okay? So this will be your north. Downwards you usually draw your south. And then on this side you will put your east. And then on this side you put your west. Now, let's say you are starting here. Okay? You're starting at the middle. And you are going to go on this direction, north 30 east, which is 30 degrees east of north. Notice what it says, of the north line. So 30 degrees of the what? North line. So you're going to start at what? You're going to look at the north line, and you're going to go what? 30 degrees towards the east. So there's your 30 degrees, and this is the direction you're going to walk. Is that okay? Is that okay? Alright, so what if I tell you to walk 40 degrees west of south? Then which direction would you walk in? Again, I said to draw the what? Yeah, you want to draw your cross section. Usually I don't draw solid lines for that. Usually what I would do is draw dashed lines. Okay? So this is my starting position, and I would draw my dashed lines to indicate where the north, south, west, east is. Okay? And then, so if this is my starting position, I have to look what first? Towards the south. Go where? 40 degrees towards the west. And so this is 40 degrees. And so this is the direction I will end up walking. Let's take a look at bearings. And usually bearings, are used in like sailing and stuff. Anyway, let's say I have a bearing of 120 degrees. So what do you do? In this case, again, you have your lines here. If this is my starting position and my bearing is 120 degrees, is I always look north. So I always look north, and I go clockwise. How many degrees? 120 degrees. So I go clockwise 120 degrees, which is about here. And this is the direction that I have to go. So anyways, you always start at the north line. So you're going to start your angle at the north line. Start angle at north. And you just go clockwise however many degrees.